The Strange Swing. Lullaby, oh lullaby, the wind blows through the banana grove, oh, behind the house. He follows his mistress, oh lullaby, leaving behind his child, oh, 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 lullaby. That lullaby echoed endlessly in my mind during every moonlit night. It left me restless and uneasy, especially on sleepless nights. My room was surrounded by trees, and when winter came, especially during the full moon, the mist would roll in thick. Looking out from the window, everything appeared hazy, like smoke rising from burned rice fields. And in those very moments, that sorrowful lullaby would resound again, drifting in and out of the air. Its mournful, haunting tone could melt even the hardest of hearts. I'd been living here for 5 years, long enough to know every patch of earth and every blade of grass around this old house. Grandma Tam's home wasn't the usual 3-step threshold but had 5, built in the traditional style with 3 main rooms. I remembered, back when I was living with my family in the provincial town, houses like this were often called old houses because they looked weathered, sad, and steeped in time. Fate brought me to this house right after I graduated from the teaching college. My first posting was in a remote area, and that's how I ended up here. Another reason I, a young teacher, became so attached to this old house was because I was tutoring Grandma Tam's little grandson. Tan had just entered 4th grade, a hyperactive boy who loved running around the spacious yard, which was as large as a football field. The countryside here was full of trees, mangoes, jackfruit, papaya, sugarcane, you name it. And in the sweltering summer heat, that peaceful shade was truly a blessing. It was all quite agreeable to me, as I've always loved quiet spaces and solitude. Even after so long living here, I still couldn't figure out where the lullaby came from. Every full moon, it would rise again, aching and haunting. Sometimes it felt as if it were sung right next door, other times, it drifted in faintly from far away. There were other houses nearby, but all quite distant. With that kind of distance, it was impossible for a lullaby to carry so clearly. Besides, I'd asked around, none of those houses had small children, so who would be singing a lullaby? The elderly often dote on their grandchildren. That's how I came to live in this old house rent-free, with only the simple responsibility of helping Tan progress in his studies. Outside of school and tutoring Tan, I would spend my remaining time at a desk by the window, preparing lesson plans, writing letters home, and listening to the lullaby from there as well. Grandma Tam was over 70. Her children and grandchildren worked far away, so only she, Tan, and the housemaid, Aunt Hai, lived in the big, airy home. When I moved in, the whole house felt livelier. Even Aunt Hai, who was normally stern, would occasionally smile when she saw me come home from school, a rare sight, especially with Tan always misbehaving. During my free time, I chat with Aunt Hai, hoping to satisfy my curiosity about the mysterious lullaby. But I was always disappointed. She would shake her head whenever I brought it up, her face going pale at the mention of that eerie singing under the full moon. As for Grandma Tam, she was more assertive. She would firmly dismiss my questions with a curt, "You're just tired from all the work, hearing things that aren't there. I've lived in this house for over 70 years and never heard any such singing." Her response left me doubtful, half thinking there was something being hidden from me, half convinced I was overthinking and imagining things. But I considered myself someone with a strong personality, not the type to retreat in the face of mystery or conjure up hallucinations out of nowhere. From then on, the unanswered questions lingered in my mind, but eventually, out of sheer fatigue, I pushed them aside and forgot about them. During the last semester of the year, I was swamped with exam prep and tutoring, and my health started to deteriorate. When I visited my family, everyone commented, "You've gotten so thin lately." But I had no time to worry about myself. My beloved little students clung to their teacher all day long. On the day of the Don't Know festival, parents took turns inviting me over for meals. One celebration after another rolled by, and before I realized it, it was the full moon again. I had a habit of visiting temples on full moon days. That day, after lighting incense at the Hang Pagoda, I returned home and fell asleep without even knowing it. Around midnight, I was stirred by that familiar lullaby, floating once more in the air. This time, the tune was the same, but the lyrics had changed. The wind carries the mustard greens to the heavens. Rao Ram stays behind to endure the bitterness of life. Mother, please don't marry me far away. When birds cry and monkeys howl, how will I find your home? In the dead of night, the lullaby was eerily clear, unmistakable. But the wind made it shift, now near, now far. Sometimes it seemed to vanish completely, then suddenly ring out right next to my ear. I listened carefully. The house was completely still, everyone asleep. That night, I resolved to uncover the secret that had haunted me for so long. Gently pushing open my door, I stepped silently into the main hall. I unlatched the creaky old front door and slipped into the dewy grass outside. The moonlight shimmered on the yellow bell trees and neatly trimmed hibiscus hedges. From where I stood, I could see across the yard, though my window was hidden behind a thick row of banana trees, their leaves swaying in the moonlight. I took a few steps toward the left side of the yard, then suddenly changed my mind. I can see it from here already, no need to waste energy. But just as I turned, I caught sight of something, the window to Grandma Tam's room. Someone had just closed it by hand. So, I'm not the only one who hears it. She hears it too, but refuses to admit it. My eyes were then drawn to the swing beneath the windows of both her room and mine. The swing was moving, as if someone was pushing it. No, not pushing, more like someone was sitting on it, swinging gently. I didn't want to believe my eyes, but I couldn't deny what I was seeing. Above the swing was a faint mist, shaped almost like a person, head bowed slightly as if cradling a child. I hesitated, a chill running through me, fear creeping in. Then I recalled Grandma Tam's words and steeled myself. If I don't find out the truth, I will be the one going crazy. I stopped 3 steps away from the swing. It was still now. Could I have imagined it all? Maybe I'd been half asleep and seeing things. The swing sat motionless. The white mist was gone. What had I seen earlier? Dark thoughts filled my mind. A haunted lullaby? A restless spirit? Clearly the singing and the swing were connected, though this was the first time I'd actually seen it move. That must mean the swing had always moved with the song. And that would explain the unnaturally smooth, silent motion people might notice when they sat on it, but only briefly. The next morning, seeing me limp, Aunt Hai asked in surprise, "What happened to your foot, teacher?" I forced a smile. I sat on the swing and accidentally fell and twisted it. Before I could finish, she gasped, "You sat on that swing? Why would you do that?" In this house, aside from Tan, no one. No one what, Aunt Hai? I pressed. She dodged the question. "Teacher, you really shouldn't go near that swing. Just know that much is enough." The conversation ended there, leaving me frustrated and unsatisfied. My ankle hurt so badly that I had to wrap it with mugwort leaves for several days. Later, I went to the market and bought a child's rattle. No one in the house knew about it, because I knew if I told them, no one would approve of my stubbornness. At dusk, I tied the rattle beneath the swing, mentally patting myself on the back for being so clever. Now I wouldn't have to do anything, just trim a few banana leaves to get a better view from my window. And then wait. That evening, while waiting nervously in my room, I reached for the old bookshelf. It was a relic of the old house, dusty and untouched. I'd swept it a few times before, but never really paid attention. As I scanned the titles, I noticed a small, faded notebook nestled among the mess. Under the lamp, I flipped through a few pages and realized it was an old diary. The first few pages were scribbled with personal memories, but many were torn out, perhaps in anger. Fortunately, enough fragments remained to identify it as a diary. The handwriting had faded with time, so I had to bring it close to the light to read even a few words. "My friend just gave birth and I feel so restless. He left, the house is so empty. The stuffed animals are adorable. I love lullabies." Lullabies for who? My tears soaked the pillow. Maybe he's grown tired of me. 14.8.1981. Tonight is Vulan, and the moon is strangely beautiful. Next were the pages still intact, filled with amusing and lyrical folk verses. Mama, I'm a faithful woman. My cargo boat sails a chapter of sardines. If you don't believe me, open the can. Vietnamese coriander at the bottom, sardines on top. Each afternoon I pick gourds for soup. Run out with the pan, see you climbing the trellis. Oh no, I no longer love you. Here's your earrings back, but I'll keep the gold. Mama, the duck drowned. Reached down to retrieve it, a goby fish bit my hand. Beside those pages was a torn-out section, leaving a jagged void, with faint scribbles in the top left corner, meaningless, perhaps only heaven could decipher it. I patiently turned the next few pages, and finally, I was rewarded. 2 or 3 pages remained intact, spared by the whimsical inspiration of the author. The entries were dated months apart, forcing me to pause and reflect deeply. September 8, 1981. Today, by the lunar calendar, is the 11th of the 8th month, during the Bok Lo season, when the morning dew thickens. I sit on the swing with the lovely stuffed dolls. I don't know how long I've been playing with these plush toys, just that it's become a habit whenever he's away. I understand, when a woman can't bear children, it's one of life's cruelest pains. Even if a husband loves you, time makes his affection grow cold. My in-laws look at me with eyes I can't describe. Maybe they think the inability to have children is my fault, and so they cast these distant, judging gazes. Only someone who's lived this can truly understand the way the looks in loved one's eyes change day by day. People nod with sympathy when you speak of it, but it's all so false, because deep down, for a man, having a wife who can't bear children is as good as having no wife at all. Here, people comfort me, not being able to have children isn't your crime, but elsewhere, they say, of the 3 unfilial acts, failing to continue the family line is the worst, over tea, over drinks. It creeps in, everyone wavers with time. That sorrow clings to me, along with an aching wish buried deep inside, to have a child to lull to sleep. The longer I go without one, the more I grow attached to lullabies. The old folk verses I heard as a child in my mother's arms come alive again, flaring with hope that I might one day sing a lullaby to my own baby. But in this world, not every wish is fulfilled. If they were, wouldn't we all become deities? I want a child, yes, but that's my desire, I can't force others to grant it. And if a person can't solve their own life's puzzle, how can they blame fate for being cold and indifferent? The lonely days keep drifting by. These plush toys have replaced the dream I once held dear. He grows more distant with each passing day. I know, if I can't give him a child, then sooner or later, I'll lose him. I'll lose him because of the very thing we both wanted most. And worse, I'm the one who has to face both challenges, to keep my husband and to fulfill a woman's destiny. If one day I find myself still sitting alone on this swing, then I can't blame him if he leaves a home that always remained a family of just 2. Oh, how sorrowful that is. January 21st, 1984. The great cold season fell on the 19th day of the 12th lunar month, year of the pig. Only 12 days until Lunar New Year. The weather's bitterly cold, but still I sit on the swing with these lifeless toys. Now it's just me, alone in these chilly nights, frail, emaciated, worn out by a long bout of heart disease and chronic fatigue. I know I'll die with this dream unfulfilled, but I still come out to the swing, singing the lullaby of long ago. My hand stroked the stuffed animal with the tenderness of a mother. Tears streamed down with choked sobs. I don't know who to blame, people or fate, when a small, fragile life is willing to trade everything for just one moment of motherhood, yet forever out of reach. All that remains is a sorrowful lullaby passed down through time, only to be broken in my hands. Oh, oh. The wind sways the banana grove, oh, behind the house. You followed your mistress, oh. Oh, oh. You followed your mistress, leaving behind your child, oh, so young, oh, oh. Even so, I still wish to be a mother. Even if it means being reborn in another life. That's why I must keep practicing lullabies. I must sing them well, so that in my next life, my child will hear its own mother's song. In the creaking rhythm of the cradle's sway, a lullaby must never be absent. Humans can pass down their bloodlines, so lullabies must not be lost for people like me. Reading up to this point, I suddenly heard the faint jingling of a rattle beneath the window frame. I stepped closer and saw a blurry silhouette swaying on the swing, half shrouded in the white mist. From that place came the lullaby I now knew so well. But it no longer frightened me like the first time I heard it. Now I understood who was singing. Aunt Tam had often lamented her misfortunate eldest daughter. Miss Han had passed away decades ago. In life, those around her admired her virtue and her love for children. That explained why only little Tan could sit on the swing, while I sprained my ankle trying. Looking at the diary's pages made my heart ache. People can lose many things in life chasing survival, but the one thing they must never lose is their nature. Not just the ability to bear children or uphold tradition, but virtues like kindness, loyalty, and devotion. If we lose those, it's a true tragedy. And if no one grieves such a loss, then the lullaby on the swing becomes something truly terrifying. As for me, I feel that from now on, if the lullaby drifts into my ears on restless nights, I'll feel fortunate. Because the true intent of the one singing was always the same, to bring sweet sleep to a tender, innocent soul.